Sometimes, the most powerful remedies don't come in shiny bottles or with fancy labels. They sit quietly, behind old cabinet doors. A thick bottle of castor oil. A soft, crumpled box of baking soda. Almost forgotten, until now. For years, these two sat side by side in our grandparents' homes. Used in ways we never really understood. But what if there was something they knew, something we've overlooked? Because when you combine these two humble ingredients, what follows isn't just interesting. It's deeply felt. In the joints, in the skin, in the slow, aching parts of the body that medicine sometimes forgets. And once you see what happens, you'll start to wonder, were they onto something all along? What if that mix, castor oil and baking soda, wasn't just an old folk tale or a harmless habit? What if that simple combination, one passed down quietly from one generation to the next, could actually do something? Something real, something helpful. What if this mix could bring relief to the stiff knees your father always rubs after sitting too long? Or soothe the dry, paper-thin skin on your mother's hands, the kind of skin that seems to tear just from buttoning a shirt? What if it could help your elderly loved ones sleep better, move easier, even feel seen again, not just managed? I know, it sounds too easy, too simple, but sometimes the answers we overlook are the ones that have been with us all along. And when you're caring for someone in their later years, someone you love dearly, you know that comfort, even the smallest bit, matters so much. We're not talking about magic cures here. We're talking about kindness in action. About noticing what works, even if it doesn't come in a fancy package or with a doctor's signature. In today's video, we're diving into 5 powerful ways this old-school combo could support elderly wellness. From soothing sore joints to gentle skincare, to something you probably never thought it could do. By the end, you'll understand why this mix is being quietly talked about again, by caregivers, by families, by people just like you, who are looking for answers that feel both human and helpful. So if you believe that our elders deserve comfort, dignity, and a little more peace in their days, comment, "I care" below to let me know you're with me. And if this kind of wisdom speaks to you, subscribe to Elderly Healthy Wisdom, because together, we're learning how to care better, with heart, with hands, and with hope. Now, let's start with something you've probably seen more times than you can count. Picture this. Your grandfather settles into his favorite chair at the end of the day. The sun's low, the house is quiet, and like clockwork, his hand reaches for his knees. He rubs them slowly, rhythmically. You ask if he's okay, and he gives that half smile and mutters, "Just old age, nothing to worry about." But you do worry, because you've noticed he's walking slower. Getting out of chairs takes more effort. Sometimes he skips a walk he used to enjoy. Joint pain has a way of creeping in. It doesn't announce itself with alarms, it settles quietly, stealing little freedoms one by one. And here's the part that stings. So many people just accept it. They assume this is just what getting older feels like. But the truth is, there are ways to ease the discomfort. You can't turn back the clock, but you can make each step forward feel a little lighter. Let's talk about castor oil for a second. It's not just an old-fashioned laxative from your childhood. It's loaded with something called ricinoleic acid, a natural anti-inflammatory. That means when you apply it to swollen or aching joints, it doesn't just sit there. It seeps through the skin, reaching into the tissues below. It can help reduce that deep, stubborn ache that settles in places like knees, wrists, and fingers. Now, mix that with baking soda, just a small amount. Why? Because baking soda improves blood flow where it's applied. It gently opens up circulation, helping your body carry away the byproducts of inflammation. Together, this mix becomes more than the sum of its parts. It becomes a comforting ritual, a soothing balm, a moment of care you can give someone you love. But here's what most people get wrong. They see joint pain, and they reach for pills. Or they wait until it's unbearable. They forget that prevention and consistency are often just as powerful as intervention. So here's something you can try tonight. Take 1 tablespoon of castor oil. Mix in a small pinch of baking soda until you have a smooth paste. Warm it slightly, not hot, just enough to feel cozy on the skin. Gently rub it into the aching joint in slow, circular motions. Take your time. This isn't a race. It's a ritual. Then, wrap the area in a soft cloth. A flannel or cotton towel works beautifully. Let it rest like that for 20 to 30 minutes, or even overnight, if it feels right. Now, don't expect miracles overnight, but give it a week. Watch how the person moves. Listen for subtle changes in how they describe their pain. Sometimes it's not about removing all the pain. Sometimes, Just lessening it can give someone the confidence to take a walk, climb a few steps, or simply smile more. And here's what's beautiful. It's not just the ingredients doing the work. It's you, your attention, your intention, your hands, your presence. That's what healing looks like, especially for those who've spent a lifetime taking care of you. But soothing pain, that's only one part of the story. What if this same simple mix could also support the health of aging skin? Skin that's been through years of sun, wind, soap, and time. Let's talk about that next. You know, one of the first things that changes as we age isn't always what we expect. It's the skin. You might notice it one day when you're helping your mother button her blouse, and you see the back of her hand. The skin looks thinner now, fragile, like tissue paper. There are faint marks, maybe small bruises she doesn't even remember getting. And when you ask, she brushes it off. Oh, I must have bumped into something. But you can't unsee it. You start noticing it everywhere. Dry patches, redness, tiny tears that take forever to heal. The kind of skin that makes you think twice before touching it, even though you want to hold her hand tighter than ever. A caregiver once told me about her mother, how the skin on her arms had become so sensitive that even a sweater could leave it irritated. She tried all the store-bought creams, the ones that promised hydration, healing, and youthfulness, but nothing really soothed. Then she remembered something, a remedy her grandmother used to use. Simple, quiet wisdom. She mixed a little castor oil with baking soda and gently rubbed it into her mother's hands once a week, like a tiny ritual. No perfumes, no chemicals, just patience and care. And here's the thing. Castor oil is rich in ricinoleic acid, a fatty acid that deeply nourishes dry, damaged skin. It's thick, almost syrupy, and clings to the surface just long enough to seep in. It doesn't just sit on top like most lotions. It penetrates, bringing moisture where it's most needed. Now add baking soda to the mix, not much, just a pinch. And suddenly you've created a soft, natural exfoliant. One that gently lifts away dead skin cells without tearing or irritating what's underneath. It's not harsh like scrubs made for younger skin. It's gentle, respectful. But here's where so many people miss the mark. They race for fancy creams with long ingredient lists. They trust the labels, the branding, the price tags. And they forget that nature, when used correctly, often knows exactly what to do. So here's a tip that might change your caregiving routine. Once a week, make a small batch of this mixture. Use it on the hands, the elbows, the heels, especially during cold months when the skin tends to crack and peel more easily. Massage it in slowly, then wipe away the excess with a warm, damp cloth. It's more than skincare. It's a form of connection. Because the truth is, when someone's skin begins to age like that, they don't just need healing on the surface. They need touch that doesn't feel clinical. They need to be reminded that they're still cared for. That their body, no matter how much it's changed, still deserves gentleness. And yes, the skin is the body's largest organ. It protects, it breathes, it senses. But healing isn't just about the outside. What about what's happening inside? Let's talk about something just as overlooked, digestion. Now let's shift inward. Because what's happening inside the body is just as important as what we see on the outside. You ever notice how, as we get older, the little things we eat can suddenly make a big difference? A meal that once brought joy now brings discomfort, bloating, that heavy feeling after eating, a quiet grimace instead of a satisfied smile. And yet, so often, it goes unspoken. I remember one caregiver sharing how her father started skipping meals. Not because he wasn't hungry, but because he didn't want to feel off for the rest of the day. He'd say, "I'm fine. I'm just not in the mood to eat." But it wasn't about appetite. It was about digestion. About the subtle, slow discomfort that builds in silence. Here's the truth we don't talk about enough. As we age, digestion slows. The gut becomes more sensitive. Bowel movements can become irregular. And that, believe it or not, can affect mood, sleep, energy, even memory. And this is where that humble combination, castor oil and baking soda, comes into the picture again. Now, I want to be clear. Internal use of castor oil should always be discussed with a healthcare provider, especially for older adults. But even without taking it by mouth, this remedy can still be deeply supportive. You see, castor oil has been used for centuries as a gentle stimulant for the digestive system. When applied externally, on the belly, just over the abdomen, it can encourage movement, soft relaxation, release. And baking soda? It's often overlooked, but it's known to help regulate pH balance in the body. In small amounts, it may help reduce the discomfort that comes from mild acidity or indigestion. Used topically, it brings warmth and gentle stimulation. It helps the body breathe a little easier beneath the skin. So here's a simple, safe method you can try at home. Warm a bit of castor oil, stir in a small pinch of baking soda, and massage it over the lower abdomen in slow, clockwise circles. Do this in the evening, right before bed. Wrap the area with a soft cloth or towel and let them rest. Even if they fall asleep with it still on, that's okay. That's part of the comfort. And here's the beautiful thing. You're not just helping their digestion. You're creating a quiet moment, a safe space, a pause in their day where they're not being managed or monitored. They're being cared for. You might not see a dramatic change overnight, but if they're sleeping better, feeling lighter, more at ease after meals, that matters. Even small improvements can restore dignity, confidence, and joy to someone who's been quietly suffering. And once the body feels a little more at peace inside, we can start thinking about what we need to let go of next. Because sometimes, what's making us uncomfortable isn't just what's stuck in the gut. It's what's building up beneath the surface. Let's talk about detox and how this simple mixture might help the body feel just a bit freer. So now that we've touched on digestion, let's go just a little deeper. Because sometimes, what's weighing our loved ones down isn't just food or discomfort. It's the quiet buildup of stress, of toxins, of years and years of medication, processed foods, or simply life lived long. And the body, well, it tries its best to manage it all. The liver filters, the kidneys flush, the skin releases. But in the later years, those systems can slow, not stop, just tire out a little. And when that happens, we see it in fatigue, foggy thinking, skin changes, and that off feeling you can't quite describe. This is where the old wisdom comes in. For generations, caregivers have used castor oil packs not just for pain, not just for digestion, but for gentle detoxification. Not a harsh cleanse, not a dramatic flush, but a quiet, steady support for the body's own natural process. Here's how it works. When you apply warm castor oil to the right side of the abdomen, that's where the liver sits just beneath the rib cage. It stimulates circulation in that area. It brings more blood flow, more warmth, and more softness to the tissues. That can help the liver work just a bit more efficiently. And when you pair that castor oil with a touch of baking soda, something subtle happens. Baking soda has mild alkalizing properties. It helps balance acidity on the skin's surface, and some believe it encourages better energy flow beneath. It also makes the oil spread more evenly and helps it sink in with just a hint of gentle tingle. It's not magic. It's not instant, but it is supportive. And the ritual itself, that's powerful. You warm the oil. You stir in the baking soda. You dip a soft flannel or cotton cloth into the mixture and gently lay it over the liver area. Cover it with a towel. Place a warm compress or heating pad on top. Then let your loved one rest for 30 to 45 minutes. No phones. No TV. Just soft music or silence. Peace. Some caregivers even use this time for reflection, gratitude, quiet prayer. Because this isn't just about detoxing the body. It's about creating space for stillness, for release, for care that feels almost sacred. And here's the part most people miss. Detox doesn't always mean something leaving the body physically. Sometimes it means letting go of emotional weight, of tension in the belly, of thoughts that clutter the mind. This ritual can bring a surprising sense of calm, a quiet sigh from the body that says, "Thank you. I needed this." And again, it's you who gives that gift. Your hands, your intention, your presence. You're not fixing them. You're supporting them, gently, respectfully, lovingly. Now, we've talked about joints, skin, digestion, and detox. But there's one more area we haven't touched yet. And it might just be the most overlooked part of all, something we all depend on every day, yet hardly notice until it starts to hurt. Let's talk about the feet. Now let's bring it down to where so many stories of aging begin. And sometimes, where they quietly start to fade, the feet. It's something we don't talk about enough. But the truth is, when a person's feet begin to hurt, everything changes. Maybe you've noticed it. Your loved one used to walk confidently. They'd shuffle out to the mailbox, take afternoon strolls, pace while talking on the phone. But now they hesitate. They take shorter steps. They avoid outings. They sit more, rest more, isolate more. And when you ask, they say something simple. "My feet just feel tired all the time." But it's more than tired. It's discomfort. It's burning, swelling, tenderness, even pain they're too proud to describe. And that's where this humble mix, castor oil and baking soda, can be quietly transformative. Castor oil, with its thick and deeply moisturizing nature, softens calluses, soothes cracked heels, and brings moisture to skin that's often been ignored. But more importantly, it's anti-inflammatory, which means it may help reduce minor swelling, aches, and that heavy, dragging feeling that so many older people carry in their legs and feet. Baking soda? It does more than exfoliate. It gently draws out impurities. It helps reduce odor. And when added to warm water, it turns a basic foot soak into a calming, therapeutic experience. Here's how you can help you. Start with a basin of warm water. Add a tablespoon of baking soda and stir it in. Let your loved one soak their feet for 10 to 15 minutes. Dry gently, carefully between the toes. Then take a tablespoon of castor oil. Rub it slowly, deeply into the soles, the arches, the heels. Take your time. Let it be unhurried. This isn't just about skin, it's about connection. If their feet are dry or cracked, you can add a pinch of baking soda to the castor oil as a gentle scrub first, then rinse and follow with pure oil. Wrap their feet in soft cotton socks and let the moisture sink in overnight. It may seem small, but to someone who's been walking through decades, through life's weight, through grief and growth and endless responsibility, that kind of care, that kind of attention to something as overlooked as the feet, it's everything, and you'll notice it. Not just in how they walk the next day, but in how they smile, how they speak, how they carry themselves. Because when someone feels comforted at their foundation, they move through the world a little differently. And just like that, with one simple mix and a few moments of your time, you've helped ease pain, restore dignity, and remind someone you love that they're still worth caring for in every way. We've talked about 5 powerful ways this remedy can bring relief, connection, and healing. But now, let's pause. Let's reflect. Because all of this, every tip, every method, is really about one thing: love in action. Let's take a breath here. Because if you've made it this far, you're not just curious about an old remedy. You're here for something more. You're here because you care about someone who's aging. Maybe it's your mother, your father, a grandparent, or maybe you're caring for yourself. And if you're honest, it's not always easy, is it? Watching someone you love grow older, slower, more fragile, it can be quietly heartbreaking. Not because they've changed, but because you remember who they were. The strength in their hands, the spark in their eyes, the way they used to take care of you without hesitation. Now the roles are shifting, and there's no manual for that. No warning, no clear line between being a child and becoming a caregiver. That's why these small, simple practices matter so much. Because they give you something to do, something real, something loving, something that says, without needing words, I see you, I still see you. Yes, the science matters. The castor oil, the baking soda, the way they soothe joints, soften skin, support digestion, promote relaxation, and bring comfort to tired feet. But behind it all is something deeper. These aren't just remedies. They're reminders that we can still nurture, still protect, still bring peace to someone who once gave us everything. And if you're sitting there thinking, am I doing enough? Let me tell you, if you're here, if you're learning, if you're showing up with love, you're doing more than enough. Because care isn't about perfection. It's about presence. It's about the quiet strength of a hand on a shoulder, a warm towel across the knees, a few minutes of touch, a gentle word, a moment of stillness. This isn't about fixing everything. It's about making today a little easier, a little kinder, a little more human. So if you've noticed any of the signs we've talked about, don't wait. Tonight, just try one small act of care, one moment of connection. Because aging doesn't mean fading. It means shifting. And with the right support, those later years can still be filled with comfort, grace, and dignity. And that, more than anything, is what we all deserve. So let's take a moment to gently recap what we've shared today. 5 powerful, simple ways this age-old mix, castor oil and baking soda, can help suppo. It's simple, yes, but sometimes the most powerful care is quiet. It's not loud. It's not expensive. It's just consistent, gentle, loving. Now I'd love to hear from you. Which of these stood out to you the most? Have you ever used natural remedies like this for someone you love? Or maybe you have questions about how to begin. Comment below, even just a few words. This is a space for real conversation, real stories, and real support. And if you found this video helpful, if it brought you peace or insight, or even just a moment to breathe, consider subscribing to Elderly Healthy Wisdom. This channel is here for you, for caregivers, for families, for people trying their best to care with heart and humanity. Every week, we explore gentle, respectful ways to improve comfort, reduce stress, and bring healing into the everyday routines of those we love most. Because your care makes a difference, and sometimes, all it takes is a reminder that you're not alone. Thank you for being here with me today. Thank you for caring. Stay gentle, stay present, and most of all, stay hopeful. We'll see you in the next video.